If someone can hurt you and walk away clean, they already did the math. You didn't get hurt because you're good. You got hurt because your goodness made the cost of hurting you zero. No retaliation. No consequences. Just you, absorbing the damage, rationalizing it, swallowing it. And they knew that. They scanned the room, ran the calculation, and picked you. Not because you deserved it, but because you were the cheapest target. Let that sink in. Every act of harm is deliberate, not a mistake, not an accident. Harm is power projected downward. It is contempt dressed as indifference. It is someone looking at you and deciding, you are not a person right now. You are a receptacle. You are an outlet. You are a thing to be used so they can feel a little taller, a little surer, a little more in control. That decision, to dehumanize you, happens before the first word leaves their mouth. So how do you spot it? Here are 6 ways people hurt you in the shadows. Your psychological core runs on emotional response. Consistent, timely, real. Selective ignoring is the deliberate withdrawal of that response. It's the cheapest weapon in the arsenal. You're talking, they're scrolling. You're breaking down, their eyes glaze over. You send a message, they leave it on read for 3 days. You say I'm not okay, and they say you're overthinking it. That is not distraction. That is not a busy schedule. That is a person who has decided your emotional state doesn't matter enough to acknowledge. So they ignore it, on purpose, until you start questioning whether you even deserve to be heard. You do. They just want you to stop believing that. Freud said it plainly. Repressed hostility doesn't evaporate. It costume changes into passive aggression and walks right back in. These people smile and say I'm just trying to help. Then they sabotage you. They agree to something and forget. They poke the one thing you're sensitive about, then call you fragile when you flinch. They insult you with a grin and rewrite it as humor the moment you push back. They choose a weapon you can't name and can't prove, and they use it with precision. Every oops is a calculation. Every delay is a decision. This one erases you from the inside out. The core move is reality distortion, deliberate, repeated, surgical. You felt something. That never happened. You know what you heard. You're being dramatic. You're hurt. You're too sensitive. Round after round. Until you stop trusting your own eyes, your own gut, your own memory. Nietzsche wrote that the deepest harm is not defeat. It is being made to betray yourself. Gaslighting does exactly that. It is the demolition of your self-trust. It is mental violence executed over months and years. It is the furthest thing from love. Adler understood this. Every act of comparison that cuts you down is someone else trying to climb up. These people don't insult you to your face. They just deflate you at the exact moment you need air. You share a win. That's nice, but it's not that big a deal. You admit a struggle, really? Because I've been doing great. They drop your insecurities into group conversation like it's casual, then watch you shrink. They know the words will sting. That's why they said them. They need your light dimmed so theirs looks brighter. It's not banter. It's extraction. In behavioral psychology, healthy connection is transparent. Deliberate opacity is dominance. What does it look like? Critical information you're never given. Big decisions made without you. Things that affect your life, kept from you on purpose. Not because they forgot, but because the information gap keeps you passive, keeps you guessing, keeps you insecure. They hold the map. You don't even know there is one. That's not a relationship. That's hierarchy disguised as partnership. You were never an equal. You were a variable to manage. Sartre said it. Any demand wrapped in love or goodness that takes away your freedom is harm. I'm only thinking of you. Why aren't you grateful? Everyone else does it this way. Why do you have to be difficult? They weaponize your guilt. They exploit your decency. They use your desire to belong as a leash. It looks gentle. It feels suffocating. It is control wearing the mask of care. And every time you shrink to fit their frame, They take a little more of you. Here is what the 6 patterns reveal. People who truly value you protect your emotions. They avoid your sore spots. They respect the line you draw. If someone consistently ignores your feelings, twists your reality, uses your goodness as leverage, they are not confused. They are making a choice. Learn to see it. Name it. Walk. Which of these 6 hit closest to something you've lived through? And what was the moment you finally realized it wasn't an accident? Drop your story in the comments. Someone reading it needs to hear it.